BJ Nix, are you here?
Present.
Present. Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie.
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes. Cool. And the margaritas.
All right. Class here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
This is the time to line up behind your team, to support your team. Have faith in that team.
It's peaks and valleys. It can't always be good. And as I always tell people, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But when we do know about
house call, Trevon Diggs pick six. It's coming. They see it. Knocked away. Oh, Gregory! Hurts in trouble. 3 Cowboys wrap him up, make it 4. Micah Parsons is unblockable.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the building. Season 4, episode 3. How is everybody doing this evening? Typically, this time of year, we're on Wednesdays.
Want to say hi, Michonne?
Right now, she's like, hey, look in the background, rolling by.
It's my godson, Michonne. Say hi.
Hey, what's going on, buddy? But of course, we had to pivot to Thursday because Professor O was having a good time with his son over there in Cowboys Stadium.
I was. Yeah, we had a great time. First off, Texas heat is different than Atlanta heat. I know that I complained. It was 101 in Atlanta yesterday, so it's still hot here. But it was 102, I think, or 103 in Texas yesterday in Dallas, and it felt like it was about 180 degrees. So I don't know how you guys deal with that.
No, and you haven't even been to Austin or Houston because that's worse than Dallas.
I went to college right outside of Houston, so it's been a while, so my body's not like acclimated to that Texas heat anymore. So
it's terrible.
Yeah, I got Bruce said this intro always gets me too hype. Shout out to Producer Jay. Producer Jay elevating our game here a little bit. We got a little thing over here that says subscribe in the side. Look at us, guys. Look at us go. We got overlays. We're fancy. We have some different overlays in our stuff, man. Look at us acting grown up and everything else. My guy John Alt's in the middle. What's going on? Jamie could be on Patrick Page. Stewart, the resident Debbie Downer, says he's finally catching a live show. Good to see you in here, my guy. And as Cole's Cowboy said, Atlanta heat is horrible. LOL. It was today.
It is, but being in Texas yesterday and Atlanta today, I promise you the Texas heat was worse. Promise you. It was hot here today, too.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So tonight, if you join me and Spoon on the space over there on Twitter, as we always do as we lead up to the show, we got some Cowboys news and notes, obviously. We got a little $15 who you going to buy on the back end to kind of see who we're going to pick there. We're going to continue our roster breakdown series. We're doing wide receivers tonight, and then we're debuting a new segment called I Object with our resident lawyer here, Margarita Mary, in the building. You are muted, Margarita, for you saying anything as you're laughing over there. It must be way too loud because she's been at the pool party all day, so I don't know what we're going to get from her tonight. So it's going to be a fun time. Our guy Mendoza's in the building, keeping straight. Our mod extraordinaire. Shout out to everybody. Stephen White's in the building. Haley and everybody. If I didn't get to you, appreciate you. I've been putting all the comments up here and everything else. With that being said, we do have some news and notes. We got a little bit of news and notes. Maybe let's attack this first. So we kind of talked about the mini camp one day. Boom, boom, boom. They pivoted. Then some news came out after we did the show, right? We got banged again, like we did last year with Mike McCarthy, and it got caught being a little too physical, if you will, at camp.
Yeah. So second year in a row. I actually heard some former players break it down. What happens with all camp practices are, first off, your player union rep is there, and obviously, and also the league actually records and films this as well. What they're looking for are one-on-one activities. So you can do that stuff at training camp, but you can't do it at OTAs. So you can line up and run, walkthroughs against each other, but you can't do one-on-one drills. So like a wide receiver versus a cornerback or an offensive tackle versus a defensive end one-on-one is too physical for off-season workouts. So apparently something along those lines are what happened that caused Cowboys to get dinged again. And it's one of those things, though, like coming off the heels of a 49ers playoff loss where the Cowboys fan base said, we were out physical. We weren't physical enough. We need to change that mentality. I'm A-okay with us getting fined for being too physical in an offseason workout. It's not like they're going like head to head because these guys aren't wearing full pads. They just have helmets on and jerseys. But still, the fact that they're going after each other and being competitive and even getting like an early fight even before training camp starts, I'm cool with that. No problem here at all. But that's kind of the backstory. So either a player brought it up to the union rep for the team, and the union rep has to take all things to the players union to report it, or the team or the union, watched the film and decided, hey, that was one-on-one. You can't do that. But either way, it looks like that's what caused the too physical.
Yeah. I'm going to lean more towards the side of they were popped for it last year. They were probably looking for it. And I kind of dove into, the one-on-one drills that you talked about. And we heard about the first day of camp. We heard of some maybe tackles going against defensive ends and whatnot. So it was out there on the social media realm. So it wasn't really hard for the NFL to come back and find out, let's pull the tape, let's see, and boom. So they lose an OTA practice next year in 100K. Is that what the number was?
Yeah, 100K this time. It was 50K the first time, 100K the second time.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, sucks a little bit. I'm with you.
For a team like the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, it's a drop in the. Yeah, it's not even a drop in the bucket. Yeah, but I mean, they're being physical. They're getting after it. Kind of some of the things we talked about in the first two episodes of them being attentive on the penalties and really pushing these guys and installing. So this kind of lines up. Hey, look, man, we're about to go to camp. It is what it is. But it kind of gives us, I think, to me, to a certain extent, the teams kind of know before we know. And I think all of a sudden it kind of makes more sense as we were kind of puzzled. Okay, well, you did the team drill and then you just canceled. Why? And now I think we kind of understand we have maybe the backdrop as to why. Like they knew they were getting fined or whatever. So like, all right, look, let's just cancel Christmas here. We're good to go. We're going to camp. We've installed enough. And let's just get up out of here. Outside of that, anything else news and notes wise from this team? It's been outside of maybe Mike McCarthy's maybe slim and trim weight loss in this Texas heat that Professor O's been talking about.
He had to do what he had to do,
Yeah, I'm like, we're watching the evolution of Mike McCarthy, right? Year 1 to year 2, he put the beard in. Year 2 to year 3, now he's slimming down. He's in the best shape of his life all of a sudden. Spoonie, you did kind of talk about something a little earlier though, and maybe there was something out there about Mike McCarthy talking about the offense and how they were going to handle some things.
Oh yeah, basically he wants to be physical. He basically seen what happened last season, the play like PO was talking about, and he wants to really have these guys be nasty, be gritty. Again, these are the things that we've been praying for the last couple of years. As fans, we want to see these guys really get after it and not just be a good teammate, not just being a good guy off the field, but we want to have that nastiness. We want to have guys who are demons, guys who will put it all out in the field, and that's what we've been missing so far. And he wants it.
It's a big 10-4. Yeah, it's a big 10-4. So yeah, I mean, once again, currently right now, there's not a ton of stuff going on. That did give us some clarity to the mini camp and what happened and how those things broke down. It's the quiet season. It's the quiet storm, if you will, right now, as the Cowboys are getting ready to go to camp. But we did get some, on the news note side, we did get a little bit of information about training camp coming up. Looks like they're going to be departing on the 25th, right? And vets and rookies are reporting in Oxnard on the 26th, correct?
Yep, correct.
Okay, so you can circle the calendars, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready to rock this thing 3 days after my birthday.
Lord.
Yeah, July 26th, and they're going to get after it and go from there. So yeah, it's slow boogie on the news and notes, but nonetheless, um, clarity is probably the best way to put it. We got a little clarity, and we got the nice time of knowing when this camp's going to start. And man, I tell you what, when we kind of talked about this in the space before we got here, it's that slow build, but boy, we are that camp. We know we're salivating for it right now.
Yes, man. Listen, this is the break time where we get bored. We look for things. We miss it, and once training camp appears, this is where now we get crazy about it. Even the picture things we hear, we just can't wait. I cannot wait.
No, I'm very excited, as I always am, but I've been doing my best, as you all know, to not drink the Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm gonna try to be as negative as possible.
a little even kill, if you will. Just for now, Mary. We'll hold you to that. You say that now on June 23rd.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm a work in progress, guys.
Okay. Aren't we all?
Keep me together. Be like, Mary, what did you say?
Hold on now. And shout out to guy Jack says camp starts on my mom's birthday. Easy to remember. Hey, that's what's up.
I was gonna have my stats. He's gonna be like, Mary, on June
23rd. Yeah, you were out here
slowly crept up by 3%.
I mean, we got to keep the percentages rolling, right? I mean, we got to keep the percentages rolling as always. With that being said, actually, let me cue this up here because I went ahead and downloaded it. Hopefully, I don't have to do the screen share. I'd like to do it a different way here on the money game. We're going to lead off with the money game, then we'll get to the wide receiver stuff. How about that, y'all? Have a little fun here, everybody, before we get some brass tacks. We covered some news and notes, and now let's maybe get to some brass tacks if I can just find, a pick. That'd be great. The little things in life, the little things. And now I can't find it, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a screen share.
Stuart, I'm with you now. Stuart, I'm with you.
And Stuart converted you. Don't hold on. Don't buy into Stuart. Don't you do it, Mary. Don't go to the dark side.
So for those wrestling fans out there, Mary is full blown on her heel launch. She is turning heel. She's no longer a face. She's becoming a heel. She's joining the dark side. So she's a villain.
Oh, Mary,
the fan favorite, America's sweetheart, is now the villain, crushing hearts all over the country.
Dadgummit, Mary. That's okay. That's because it's June 23rd, though. Just wait, y'all.
I mean,
we'll get her back.
Keep the dates together.
Yeah, we'll get her back. Yeah, we'll get her back. No worries. Look, we'll take back in. But here we go. We got it up here, guys. Let me get a little bit bigger real quick. Let me get a little bit bigger. Man, maybe that helps you out a little bit on the backside. If y'all can't see it, let me know. And if there's anything else I can do to help, I'll kind of do it. Boom. Does that help y'all? Is that better for y'all?
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. All right, so here we go. So you got $15, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, we want to hear you on the chat line as well, too. To build your offense. All right, build the offense. And you got the tiers here from $1 to $5. So you got to get through a quarterback, a running back, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and then a tight end. All right.
You can't cheat either. You can't just go, I'm going to take multiple $1 and multiple $2 players and have an 8 or 9 man roster. You got to just get 5 players.
Yeah.
So no cheating.
You get one. You get one position. You get one of each on the top line from QB, running back, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, tight end. You got to pick one of each, as Matt O said. Who wants to take
Steven Jonesing? We're not rolling this cash to next year. So
you can't take all $1 bills.
Spend all 15 it doesn't help to
we can't take. Wait! I can't Steven Jones just go all $1 at the bottom and live with it? No.
I mean, you can. It's your roster, but the $10 won't help you next season.
I got you. All right, guys. So, who wants to take a crack at it?
I got my guys already.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Spoonie has his guys already. All right. Hey, now, Mary, make sure you keep track of the money because I don't know. Spoon might cheat. I'm just being honest with y'all. Spoon might cheat.
Wait a minute. Does Maddie
Okay,
have
yeah,
the
we know
lasso today?
Spoonie don't know how to act. I forgot. You're right.
So Maddie
Okay.
got the lasso today. She got the Wonder Woman lasso
Yeah.
Yes.
with the rope.
But let's hear it, Spoon. Spoon, you got your guys. Let's go.
All right, I got Dak Prescott for $1. I got
Okay.
Zeke for what was Zeke?
$3.
Zeke was $3.
Zeke for $3.
So you're
I
at
got-
$4 so far.
My favorite Cowboy player of all time, Michael Irvin, the playmaker, for $5.
Okay.
Then I got Des Bryant. He going with the 88s for that was $4, I believe. And then my last guy was
No, you can't do that. You can't take Dez.
No, you
Dez
gotta go
is in wide
receiver
receiver
two.
1 tier. You got to
You
take
don't have
somebody
enough
wide receiver 2.
money. Do you?
Wait,
Not-
say it again?
You can't take. You
You
got to
gotta go
take
to wide
somebody
receiver
from
2.
wide receiver 1 and then somebody
Yeah.
from wide receiver 2. You can't take Dez because
Yeah,
he's in wide
you
receiver
can't
1
do
and you
that.
took Michael Irvin. So
Yeah.
you got to pick somebody in the next group.
Oh, okay. So that's all right. So all right. So
Spoonie, game in the system already. First player.
$3.
I told
It's
you.
just
I told
already
you. I
cheating.
told
You
you
are
he would.
Team Spoonie.
that's fine. I'll go. I will go with Tony Hill.
Okay.
Okay.
I
And
go with the speed. But my last guy was
Who's
Jay
your tight
Novacek.
end?
Jay
Did you get
Novacek.
Okay.
does
Wait.
the math add up?
So Spoonie has Dak for $1, Zeke for $3, so we're at $4 there. Michael Irvin at $5, so that's $9. Then you took Tony Hill to put you at 12. Yep, he's good. We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah.
And
You're,
then Novacek,
All
so
right.
we're good.
Okay. All right. He made it. All right. He made it. Anybody want to go next?
Mary, you want to go?
I'm looking. Okay. Oh, this is hard.
It is.
Ah. Okay, I'll go. No, I don't want to go next. I'm still thinking.
All right.
We'll throw Mendoza out there real quick. Mendoza took Romo, Emmitt Smith, Des Bryant, Amari Cooper, Jay Novacek.
Okay.
Good
Ooh, that's a good list.
He's good.
Time out.
He's
Time
close.
out.
He's close to mine. He's close to mine because I'm going Romo, Emmitt Smith,
Pretty
Michael Irvin, Cooper, and yeah, I mean, look, I'm backed up here a little bit because I'm very top tier, and I just got to rock with Schultz.
Why we couldn't swap Cooper for Lamb? See Lamb.
No, but that's not how the game's set up, sir. But again,
I
so
was gonna take. I didn't want Cooper.
so I'm going Romo, Emmett, Irvin, Cooper, Schultz.
Okay. Mary, you got your list or you want me to go?
Go ahead. I'm still looking.
All right, so quarterback. I'm taking Dak Prescott. He's only $1, tremendous value, just like his draft status being a 4th rounder. When he's only $1, I'm taking him. Dak is my quarterback for $1 in. Running back, I'm taking Tony Dorsett. So that's $4. So I'm $5 through 2 picks. Wide receiver 1, my son's favorite player is Bob Hayes. It would be an injustice if I did not take him. So I'm locking in Bob Hayes as my wide receiver 1. So now my total is $8. I'm going to take Terrell Owens as my wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend a lot of my money right there. That's okay. So he's the only guy I'm taking in the $5 category. So that puts me at 13, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Doug
And-
Cosby.
Yeah, Cosby. There we go. Locked in. Easy. That's my team.
10-4. All right, Mary.
All right. Okay, so Prescott,
1. Okay.
Smith,
All right. We're up to 6.
6, I think. Irvin,
Are you up to 11?
Got to go cheap now. The next 2.
and
You can go.
I want. I had this in my head better.
You can get a $2 and a $1.
Oh yeah, I want it. I'll take Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take
And
Cooper.
then that
Wait.
leaves you with Cosby or Schultz.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well. Run it back then. Get it. Come on. Get your list together. Get your life together, over there, Mary.
That's right. No, then I'll take Cosby.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. That lines you up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I. Yeah.
Robert
Fair.
took Tony Romo, Emmitt Smith, Des Bryant, Amari Cooper, Jay Novacek.
Okay.
So far we have a consensus. It's either Romo or Dak at quarterback. I think because of value, you can't go wrong with either one of those two.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of Emmitt Smith so far. Amari Cooper's been a popular one at wide receiver 2 for $1. And then we've seen
I mean,
Novacek
Amari
and
Cooper
Cosby as
for
our only
$1
2
is a
tight ends.
value.
I took Schultz.
You took Schultz. Oh, that's right.
I took
I
Schultz.
think I took Schultz too, didn't I? I can't
Oh, you
remember.
took Cosby. You took Cosby.
Oh, I took Cosby, yeah, for 2. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Man, look, if I put Romo with Smith, Irvin, Cooper, and Schultz, man, we good.
Yeah.
We
Sure.
good. And I think everybody's list is good. I mean, when you look at this list right here, you know, as long as you don't Stephen Jones it, you're all right.
Of
I think
course.
That's true.
I think you're quite. I think you're quite okay.
I thought Mary was about to do it, though. I thought Mary was about to take Schultz and roll $1 in the next offseason.
I thought about it. Oh, say hi, Michonne. Hi.
Hey,
He's
what's going on,
obviously a
buddy?
Cowboys fan, duh.
Awesome. But yeah, man, it's fun to look at it, and how you can pivot. But you're right, though. It's very interesting. Early on, with the Dak and the Romo picks in that realm. Look, I'm a huge Staubach fan. But I had to look at the rest of the list. I'm like, well, Romo's just good enough. I mean, you know, he's in the same realm, and I get these other guys. So it's funny, like everyone had balance because you got a little value. You kind of went up high on some things. I was like, no, I'm mashing the gas on 2 guys, and I can filter the rest with what's here.
I spent 9 of my dollars on wide receivers, so
Yeah. Well, you know, someone did play college football at wide receiver. I don't know why you would do that, sir.
little bit of
Wait,
bias
I
there.
can't remember. Who was your QB? Was it Troy?
No,
took
he
Dak.
went Dak. He went
You
with
took
Dak.
Dak?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you know, Matt, that according to Twitter, that he cannot make
Oh,
anybody better. So you had
Oh.
to take the good wide receivers.
Well, I mean, luckily the receivers I picked are elite, so I don't have to make them better.
Yes.
So we're good. And I do think Dak can do it. So
there you go. There you go.
can I give
All
a
right,
quick
guys.
little plug? So last
Yeah.
2 days, I flew out to Dallas with my 6-year-old Felix. We went to the Dallas Cowboys Youth Training Academy at AT&T Stadium. Danny McCray, former Cowboys safety, is the person running it. So if you're in the Dallas area and you want to take your kids, it's a great camp. They do a little bit of positional drills with former NFL players. They have their name on the Jumbotron. They do the cheerleader performances, everything like a real game atmosphere. I did want to talk about one thing, though. Nix, you guys don't know about this yet. So I went to the pro shop, as one does when you go to AT&T Stadium. I saw some Seafoam green. There were some green polos, a whole green section of hats. There was not a single rowdy item in the entire shop.
Oh,
Not
no,
one.
there's
Not anything for little kids. There wasn't a rowdy hat. Not a rowdy stuffed animal. Nothing. Not a
Right.
single item. There wasn't even shirts with his picture on it. So
Mhm.
maybe, fingers crossed, Jerry Jones knows that he's the jinx, and that's their way of getting them out the door. Because they always put stuff on Pro Shop first. When you start seeing a player's jersey get slashed, you're like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Rowdy's not there. I'm just hoping.
Yeah. For now.
Y'all please say hi to Michonne because he's so
We said,
happy.
yeah, we said hi.
Oh, you can't see
Everybody
my-
in the
there you
chat
go.
say hi to the little man. Everybody in the chat say hi to the little man.
Hi.
But yeah, so let's pivot over here, and we're going to continue now the roster breakdowns we're leading up to training camp, which we talked about in case y'all just tuning a little bit later and you haven't heard yet. Everybody, rookies and vets, are reporting July 26th. So mark your calendars, get excited. I know everybody else here is, but let's get into the wide receivers and let's talk about this position. And if you want to check what we talked about before in the previous 2 shows, we've already done offensive line. We've already done defensive line. If you want to check out our content on that, it's right here on the channel. Hit that sub, go over there and check out what we talked about there. And now we're going to move over here now to the offensive side again. Go to the wide receiver. Highly debated. Some things happened this offseason. Lost some guys, added some guys, right? Let's start with the minuses from the wide receiver core. Obviously, you lost Amari Cooper via the trade, and then Cedric Wilson via free agency. So right there, you got a couple of holes. Obviously, Amari Cooper, however you want to look at him, number one, for the long time here, maybe he's more of a number 2 last year. If you look at the targets that CeeDee Lamb got versus Cooper, whatever the case may be with that. And then, of course, Cedric Wilson really came on this year. He was coming on last year, but then he had the injuries to the quarterback position. So then we pivoted into this year, and we saw what he was able to do when you had different times when Gallup was down and whatnot, and him and Dak played, very well together. And he parlayed that into a contract with the Dolphins. So we lost those 2 guys. We're going to talk about what we added and kind of go through the position, and we'll wrap it up at the end of better, same, worse, if you will. Okay, but let's get those 2 guys out of the way.
Malik
let's just
Turner
go.
too.
And Malik Turner, yes, I'm sorry, and Malik Turner as well, who was kind of campaigning for and hoping for. But out of the gate though, let's go ahead and let's talk about CeeDee Lamb and what we're looking at with CeeDee Lamb, right? Obviously last year we're looking at 79 receptions, 1,102 yards on 117 targets, 13.9 average, 49 long, 8 touchdowns, right? And now projected, and they're looking for him to go into the third year to really be that number one. With Cooper leaving, and here comes Lamb coming into that, how are your feelings about Lamb and what we're looking for this upcoming season from him?
So I'm excited about Lamb. I mean, the main thing is his drops, which we've all talked about multiple times. But third year is a good time for a wide receiver. And we've all seen what he's capable of as far as like really great catches. So I think he can do it. I think it's a matter of what our offense will allow him to do. So I'm excited to see Lamb.
Everybody waving over here, little man. Everybody giving him a
hi,
big shout
Sean.
out and saying hi.
They see you. Say hi.
Yeah, everybody giving him a little shout out. So we appreciate y'all. All right, so okay, let's pivot over here, Spoonie. With Lamb coming into assuming the true number one, no questions asked. What are you looking at with him on this roster moving into training camp?
Well, this is where we got to find out how the train started, the CeeDee Lamb train. This is where we're going to find out why Mavi had the candle. This is why we're going to find out why when Lamb was drafted, BJ knocked everybody out in front of him, ran outside, and went to celebrate. This is all the answers will be answered on why Cowboy Nation really loves CeeDee Lamb. And again, he's supposed to be a top 10 pick. Mm-hmm. Every time it was mentioned about him becoming a Cowboy during the offseason, folks came in. Now he's top 10. You don't have a chance to get him. This was destiny. This was something where the football gods came out and said, I must put y'all together. And what I expect is, as I said last week, I'm not shying away from it, 1,755 yards. I am going all in on CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is going to be one of the top receivers that the whole NFL will be talking about. We're going to have a receiver in that top 5 in stats and numbers, in my opinion. I mean, he's going to be that guy. And all the Amari Cooper conversation, why they got rid of him, it's going away. He's going to make that go away.
10-4. Professor Oden, obviously we see his career stats there, kind of mimicking back-to-back years. I mean, obviously a little more targets and touchdowns than year one, obviously playing with Dak. What are your thoughts here with CeeDee Lamb coming into year 3 and being the no questions asked number one?
Yeah, I think he's poised for a huge year. And like Spoonie said, when he was drafted, he's supposed to be a top 10 pick. In fact, there were multiple times BJ said, I'm telling you guys, I have this feeling about CeeDee Lamb. And I told him straight up, I don't know why we're even talking about it. There's no way he's going to fall to us.
Yes, that's what
you
we
just never know how the draft's going to work. Like, it's one of those things every year players fall. But he was one of those guys that just felt too good. There's just no way. Like, there's guys in every draft that you're like, I could see that guy maybe falling, maybe slipping. He had a bad combine, coming off an injury or whatever. There was nothing there for CD to just fall right in our lap. So the fact that he did, amazing. I have high expectations for CeeDee Lamb. I think the true wide receiver 1 potential is there. He's not a guy like I know a lot of people are saying, he's wide receiver 2. He's not really a wide receiver 1 after last year. I completely disagree with that, though. If you look at his production across the board, it increased last year. He didn't do anything at all to show us that he's, poised to kind of hit a plateau. And a lot of people, like actually earlier in the chat, somebody brought it up saying, he's going to start drawing number 1 coverage. I disagree with that. Obviously, teams would rather have the number 1 with him, but teams don't play man coverage the bulk of the game. The majority of the league's heavy in zone. And also, cornerbacks don't travel with receivers anyways. So there's going to be more than enough opportunities for him to get matched up against a second cornerback, a third cornerback, a safety. And when those opportunities are there, you just have to take advantage of it. I mean, and if you look at wide receivers from a production standpoint, aside from like a Justin Jefferson, who exploded year one. Most receivers kind of ramp up year 1, 2, 3, 4. You start seeing a big growth for them. And I think CD is one of those guys that has the skill set to break tackles and make people miss. He has the ability to go up and catch contested balls and come down with it. He has the ability to go catch a ball knowing he's going to get destroyed. He's done that multiple times throughout his career. So there's nothing that I'm really overly concerned about. The only thing is the drops that people mentioned. But even that wasn't nearly as bad as Cowboys fans make it out to be. It's not like he had like 12 or 13 drops. He was, I think, in the 8 drop range, which is a lot. Which is a lot. But considering the number of targets he had, the drops to target ratio isn't significantly high. So I'm okay with it. But yeah, I think CD, kind of recapping, is going to have a big year. I don't know if he'll hit Spoonie's number. I would love to see him do it, but I'd be shocked if he doesn't have 1,250, 1,300 yards, somewhere in that range, just because he's going to get increased production based on the number of target shares he's going to have.
Right. And then the other thing too, not that we're not seeing the connection with him and Dak early in his rookie year before Dak got hurt, but even into, year 2, and we talked about the targets and how much more it was than Cooper. And then even into the offseason now where, we've heard Dak come out and say, hey, for the rest of my career, I'm throwing the Lamb. And hey, how about you move your locker over here? And finally getting his guy. And I think that matters because I don't think Dak's ever had his guy. Look, no one's going to be on this channel disparaging Des Bryant, but that was Romo's guy. It wasn't his guy.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then Amari Cooper coming in was by happenstance because the Cowboys kind of, laid an egg in their process, with the wide receivers. So he was thrusted into the position, into the roster halfway through a season. And not that he didn't have good connections and didn't play well, but it's never, quote unquote, his guy. And it really feels like as we're getting into year 3 and what we're seeing right now is Lamb is, and what we're hearing from Dak, and his language has changed no matter who he's talked about wide receiver. Dak's language has changed. This is his guy. So the things that we talked about last year about other teams and their schemes, whether it's a Burrow throwing it to Jamar Chase no matter what, or throwing it to Cooper Kupp, these other quarterbacks throwing it to their guy no matter what. We wanted to see that from Dak. And I think now,
really need that. I think we really need that.
Right. And I think now we're going to see that because Dak has his guy. And I think Dak in them moments is going to be like, yeah, I don't care, man. Lamb's over there somewhere. Let's go. And I think that's another nice tool in the kit for Dak moving forward. And again, going back to what Lamb has done so far, and to Spoonie's point and your point about the production going up, I think it bodes well. I think those things matter a ton. And I would love the 1,500 yards. I would. Bring me 13 and 12 touchdowns, and I'm more than happy. I'm over the moon at that point is where I would be. And I do think he has the capability that everyone has talked about on this panel here, that he has the capability there. We see it already. Now it's just time to walk through that door here in year 3. Let's spin the old wheel to a guy that, that we all love. We all love.
But this worries me.
Yeah, and there's some of the and Brian is breaking down this position. This is some of the key issues here when we get to Michael Gallup here. Obviously, you're going to see his numbers there with 35 receptions, 445 yards, 2 touchdowns. I do like that long 41 from him though. But obviously hurt. We understand that. Hurt early, hurt late, and let's start here with just Michael. And we got the deal done. Let's talk about that. And the deal that they actually got done with him. One of the few times we can say, pretty good deal overall. Yeah. It's a solid team-friendly deal. Obviously tore the Achilles late in the year, right? So we were worried, is it pup list, right? Is it going to be, I'm sorry, ACL, I said Achilles, didn't I? I'm sorry.
Well, he came back and then he got re-injured to ACL.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. But again, we were thinking maybe it's the pup list, maybe he's out for 6 weeks. But early on OTAs, we're seeing him in the jersey. We're seeing him work out on the sidelines. So let's start there. First and foremost, when it comes together going into this season, how many games, Professor, do you think he's going to miss?
So based on the sample size we have with a lot of wide receivers over the last decade coming back from ACL tears, the rehab time tends to be 8 to 9 months is when they're ready to start. They're cleared to play, and then teams like to slow play them into it. So it's usually that 10 and a half month range is what you're looking at. He had an ACL injuries. I don't know if it's like stubbing your toe, but it's not like it used to be. It's not like a death sentence where your career is over, but there is still a recovery time, and it's been about 10 and a half months, give or take, or when players have surgery to the point that they're ready to play again. So with that, we're looking at a timetable of probably late October, early November, although there's talk as of this week that they think he may be a go sometime in September. So whether that means he's fully cleared in September and is ready to play, or that means he's cleared and ready to ramp up, remains to be seen. So we'll have to kind of see how that goes. And like you mentioned, Michael Gallup's contract. Michael Gallup signed for half as much money as Christian Kirk. Michael Gallup has the exact same amount of yards in less years, in less receptions, and only 2 less touchdowns than Christian Kirk, and signed for half as much money. That was actually a great deal for the Cowboys. And like we've done with a lot of players, you can get out of that deal pretty early into it if you need to. But for what he adds to our team, being that guy that can be a deep threat, that can go up and get the ball, make some amazing sideline catches, I think it was a great signing for the Cowboys. I do have some concerns on when he'll be ready to go, not what he'll look like when he is back. So there's no concern in my mind that he's going to be a shell of himself with less explosiveness or anything like that. It's just a matter of how much time does he actually miss. I think it's pretty likely he'll start on PUP list. So we're looking at the first 6 games. Sure. Yeah, the first 6 games not being there would be my guess. But I think that's a pretty good scenario for the Cowboys. If you can just make it through the first 6 games, the schedule's not hard at the back end. So it kind of primes the Cowboys for a nice mid to late season run. And again, with what we did with tight ends and what we did with bringing in 2 of the other guys we're going to talk about later, I think we put ourselves in a pretty good position where we can, battle it out the first 5 or 6 games without him and then be in good shape the rest of the season.
Okay. Mary and Spoonie.
I got a lot going on here. Sorry, guys. Okay. So my main worry about Michael Gallup is his health. Can y'all hear me? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
His health. I love Michael Gallup. I think he's a great player. I'm happy they re-signed him. I think it was a good deal. I'm just worried about his health, and I think that the Cowboys always lie about players being back on time. So that's the main thing I'm worried about with the wide receivers is like he's not going to be ready when they say he's going to be ready, and I feel like they haven't adequately prepared for that. But no, I mean, if he's healthy and everything is good when they say he is, I'm completely okay with that, and I'm very excited about what he can be. Yeah. As he continues to grow. I really like him as a player. Definitely.
Yeah. So you're co-signing, you think he's on the PUP list? He's not going to play the first 6 weeks?
I honestly, I think I initially told y'all, like, he probably won't play till Thanksgiving. I stand by that.
Okay.
And keep in mind, if he starts out on the PUP list too, we have a 21-day window to activate him after that. So he could, without taking up a roster spot. So technically, he could miss 9 games.
Yeah,
easily without us having to reactivate him if we don't need to.
Exactly. And I think that's very believable with this team because that's just who they are, And that's why I wanted them to sign another wide receiver, just because I felt like he's not going to be available.
Okay. Spoonie, with Gallup in the signing, and we know, and look, and one thing about Gallup before in the number 2 role, he's put up a 1,000-yard season, right? We've seen it. Obviously, when he's going to come back and be added into the fold here, matters for this roster position moving forward. Are you looking? Are you co-signing? You think PUP list as well?
Nope, not at all. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor at all. But I was really into it when he was working out with the cords, and they were saying in an article they were saying things like anytime a player, a receiver, especially when you work on the cords, the amount of time you're gonna miss is probably 2 weeks. I'm not a doctor. I do understand. P.O. made a great point that if you put him on the PUP list, where at a time frame where he could be healthy, you can miss all those games. I think he's on the roster by the end of September, the 4th game.
Okay.
Week 4.
Don't believe that.
Week 4. Says, I'll take a sauce if you're offering one. I hear Shelly out here from the people.
I thought the same thing. He held it up. I'm like, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was like,
He's
man, I'll take a splash.
chair.
Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I was fully, before we got to OTAs and stuff, I was definitely fully on the pup list board. I'm not anymore. I don't think he's going to go to the pup list. I don't. I'm not saying he's going to be there week one. Be clear. I'm not saying he's going to be there week one. I'll be honest with you. I think he's going to be back by week 3. And again, Spoonie, as you said, I'm not a doctor, but I did sleep at a Holiday Inn. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. But I don't know. I'm just looking at the work on the sidelines and stuff, and kind of hearing the different things about him being ahead of schedule. I think it matters. You know, and I don't know. I think also too, and I looked how they attacked the position. We'll kind of talk about everybody else in here. I think they're expecting him to come back sooner and not put him on pup list because of the way that they attacked the wide receiver position, and we look at who they added and things that are happening. Now the caveat is, and the one thing we've talked about when it comes to the injuries with this coaching staff is they might be healthy, but they're not rushing you. They want it whenever you come back. They want you to be on the field full tilt, not with the possibility of the re-injury. And they've been very good with that. And we've seen that with different players from different positions in general. Unlike maybe the previous staff where you see them rush a guy back because they needed him really badly. And then boom, he's hurt again after a game or 2 games. And then it's another few weeks before they come back. So that's the one thing caveat. I think health-wise, I think he's going to be back. But would not be on the pup list. Now I'm kind of hedging my bet a little bit. They might just say pup list anyways. But again, I just go through the whole diagram of what they've done at the wide receiver position. To me, it doesn't smell like 6-game pup list after I saw what he's done so far. Again, not a doctor. I'm just kind of reading the tea leaves and seeing what's happening here. And that's where I'm at. Again, it would not surprise me if they did putting, on there. But something tells me, a gut feeling. I'm just a little bit of a gut feeling that I think he's going to be back by week 3.
Here's my thing that I want to everyone to address. I think I've brought it up multiple times, but Michael Gallup being injured, and we have wide receivers that we have CeeDee Lamb, we have Washington, we have Tolbert. Gallup's injured, he's coming back, but I don't feel whole in that department. I don't feel okay. And the reason why I don't is because they've all been out. They've all been out several times this offseason. And then you have multiple guys that have never played together. And you have Gallup who hasn't been healthy and who's not going to be back. And it makes me extremely uncomfortable. I don't like it. I'm very uncomfortable with it. Even though I'm comfortable with our quarterback, I'm comfortable with everything else as far as our wide receiver room goes, because there's just way too much uncertainty for me.
That's what's up. Okay. Well, speaking of that particular guy and James Washington, who they brought in, that was the free agent get this offseason.
And I like him.
Yeah.
I do.
Obviously, coming over from the Pittsburgh Steelers, former Oklahoma State wide receiver, same alma mater as Des Bryant. We can see the numbers down there and kind of know what they are. A pretty decently high draft pick, not first round, but win the top half of the draft, obviously. Quarterback play has been suspect the past few years he's been there. I think that's fair.
Agreed. No, that's what I'm saying. But he's a new addition.
Right.
And it's you know what I'm saying? There's continuity is important.
No, very true.
No matter, with any quarterback, that's why, people love to have, can you come to this team, or can you come back here? Can you do this? Because continuity is important. Chemistry and knowing what each other thinking, that's important. We don't have a lot of that. And then we also have inexperience on top of that. So, and injuries on top of that. That's what scares me. How many times are we supposed to expect that continue to work on our offense?
Yeah. And we'll have to answer those questions as we move along, right? But in particular, by adding James Washington, Mary's already told us automatically how she feels about the signing and where it's
No,
at. Likes
no,
the
I
signing.
do
I
like.
know you
I
like the signing, but the uncertainty. I got you. I'm with you. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. I'm gonna pivot over here to my guy, Professor O. The Washington signing. How does it move the needle for you, or does it move the needle for you?
I mean, for what we spent on him, it's a great signing. Is he going to be a huge impact player? I don't know that I'd say he's going to be a great player for us, but I definitely think he's somebody who can contribute. You know, if I look at what he's done in his career and I look at what Ced Wilson's done in his career, it's kind of about the same production wise. You know, he's not a huge receiver. I think he's 5'11", 6 foot, but he's only 26 years old. He has had a year where he had about 730-ish yards when he had 80 targets, but he just hasn't had good quarterback play. So Dak will hands down be the best quarterback he's ever played with. It's not a shot at Ben. It's just a reality. Late career Ben versus prime Dak is night and day difference. So being in an offense where we don't dictate it, much to the chagrin of Cowboys Nation, to go to a certain player, the targets will be evenly distributed. If you get open, you'll get the ball. That type of offense, he will have opportunities to make plays in this system. I think in terms of what he cost, what he's able to contribute, how he's going to fit, all aligned with it being a good pick. I do get Mary's concern with him being a new player and not having continuity, missing, the voluntary OTAs. However, the next 5 weeks, there's no football, and Dak's already said multiple times, I'm going to get the guys on my field because Dak has a field behind his yard because he's that type of guy. So
Yeah.
whether Washington can run routes or not, he can be there with Dak. They can get on the same page from a mental aspect because that's more important. Or probably, I'd say, is more important than the physical timing of it. Understanding what each player likes, understanding how each player thinks. Because what Dak needs to do is line up and say, hey, I know based on the coverage that he's going to do an inside stem on this curl route. I know based on the coverage, he's going to cut this comeback route 2 yards short based on the safety being over top because he's going to have a better window. The timing is easy to get down once you understand the logic and what the player is going to do. Once you're on the same page there, that's more important. So whether he can run right now or not, obviously it would be great if he could. But the fact that he can spend time over the next 5 weeks with Dak before training camp starts, and then at training camp, he should be a full go by that point. I think there's plenty of time. I'm not going to sound the alarm and panic about it now, but I do think, for what we paid, I think he could fit that Ced Wilson role where he comes in and gets somewhere between 400 to 700 yards and, has 45-ish receptions. He's a guy that has explosiveness. He's not an elite speed receiver by any means, but he can be a yak guy, which fits well with what we do from a scheme standpoint. So I actually like the signing quite a bit for what he cost.
Yeah, some untapped potential, if you will, in what he can bring to the table. Let me pivot over here to my guy Spoonie. My guy Spoonie. What do you think about this James Washington adding?
It's Tati.
How's it
Hey,
going?
y'all.
How
Y'all
you
met
doing?
her before.
I know.
We did.
I said hi, Mary.
That's Tati.
Fair enough. 10-4. Hey, gang. Go ahead there, Professor. I'm sorry, Spoonie.
I like the pick. We needed a depth. Des Bryant endorsed him, and we know how Des feels about his Oklahoma State, former teammates X, Y, and Z.
He was breaking some news. Yeah. Des was breaking that news before everybody.
He was like 2 days early on it too.
Yes.
Since it didn't happen right away, I thought maybe Des had some bad information, and then 2 days later they signed him. Like,
but the thing is with James Washington, I remember him coming out of the draft. He was in the second round, and he had a lot of solid wide receivers in comparison. One was it was Kobe Chase, and it was I forgot the other receiver's name. But at the time, some scouts didn't know. Well, is he a possession receiver? Is he a speed guy? He ran a 4.5 at the combine. So some folks was like, well, he don't have that speed to me, but he could be a possession receiver. What I do like about his game that he could definitely operate in a slot and open space. If you want to move CeeDee Lamb around, you can move him to the outside if you like that. The flexibility that he brings to the offense helps guys move around in different spots, which is helpful for Dak Prescott. I look for him to have the type of year that Cobb had when he came over from Green Bay. I look at situations like that, which that was a year where what's it called? PO, 12 personnel. And the whole thing was that's the year that Coop had 1,000 yards, Gallup had 1,000 yards, Cobb had 800 and change, almost 1,000 yards. But it was a very good stat year for Dak Prescott and his offense. So I look for that to be there. Now you have CeeDee Lamb, hopefully with Gallup, depending when Gallup comes back. But I see James Washington definitely in that role. That's Cobb.
Yeah, I think one of the things too. One of the things too, when it comes back here with Washington, we're talking about continuity and things of that ilk, is the fact that Dak's already throwing. Now I understand Washington was kind of sliding through during the OTAs and whatnot, but I think the expectation is not having the limitations that he had in training camp. Right, once he kind of maybe did something to the shoulder, so he'll be throwing to him more. So I think that helps. Right, that's a bump for Washington in this offense, and with how him and Dak will build that continuity that Mary was talking about earlier. He is the unknown quantity, and the talent seems to be there. He's going to play with the best quarterback ever, maybe with the number 2 play caller in the league according to PFF. We might talk about that in a second there, Mary. So it's a quandary. So let me pivot and ask this for y'all within this staff and what he's going to bring to the table. James Washington is a huge success in this team if he does what yardage-wise to y'all or for y'all? Oh, or Mary?
To me, it's not a yardage thing.
Okay.
I never fully look at it as a yardage thing with most players. But I think we would all say that there's been some players that haven't had the most yards, but they were successful and we like them in Cowboys Nation. He needs to adequately replace what we lost. I mean, just doing the basic things.
Okay.
That throws you the ball, catch it, get those, maybe 600, 7
Okay.
at best.
Okay.
If you can do that at best, I think that's good.
Okay, Mary. Because I was in the 600 range. So under 600 for James Washington. Is that a success for y'all then at that point? Is that kind of that's how that bonds there?
I think that's completely in the realm, and I think that's what you expect him to get. And if he does more than that, then that's amazing. And thank God.
Okay, fair enough.
Then he's gonna get a contract, and the Cowboys aren't gonna pay him.
True. Professor O, Washington needs to, production-wise do what for you? Is the over-under maybe 600 for you? Is that kind of where you are with him, or?
I think I'm under.
Okay.
I think I'm probably closer to the 500-yard mark, just because at some point we all agree Michael Gallup will be back. We all think CeeDee Lamb's going to take a big step forward. We know Schultz is going to get his yardage. We assume that either McEwen or Ferguson's going to get yardage more so than what we saw from tight end 2 production last year. We know Tolbert, which we'll talk about later, is an addition to the team. So, I have a hard time seeing 600 plus. 600, I guess, would probably be the ceiling for me of what I think he could do. Mm-hmm. Just because there's a lot of players that are going to get the ball. Tony Pollard, if he actually plays receiver,
Stop.
Whatever. But there's a lot of receivers that are going to get their piece of the pie, to steal from Stephen Jones, that quote. Mm-hmm. So I think if he can get 504 or 5 touchdowns, I think he's more than what we paid, well worth what we paid for him. I think that would be a nice addition to the offense. I'm not expecting big numbers from him. And if he could do what Ced Wilson did last year, that's even better. But I think 504, 505, something like that feels right.
And again, if he kind of does that, you feel pretty good about him replacing Cedric Wilson in that ilk.
Yep.
Right. Spoony, I see the look on your face. The over under 600 yards.
He's gonna do something.
Spooney's gonna
He's
be
gonna
like
do anything.
1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns.
I said the over under 600 yards, Spoony.
I
James
mean,
Washington.
you got me. Dan, you got me. All right.
That seems right.
It depends. And I'm glad PO clarified it. It depends on Gallup. If Gallup is back by late September, like me and BJ predicted, I'm gonna go with the 500 range. But if he's out until somewhere near October, I'm going 800. Now 800. I say that
he's taking the
over. James Washington, he in 2019, he had about 7 and change, 80 receptions. That's the whole season. So if Gallup is out that long till like October, he's not going to come in right away and take over snaps. He's going to work him in very slow. But if James is the hot man, they're going to stick with the hot man. And he's capable of doing it, in my opinion.
Okay.
But it depends.
All right.
So if you're keeping track, CeeDee Lamb's getting 1,500.
Okay.
Washington's getting 800. So that's 2,300 yards already between those two players.
Yeah.
So that means you should probably draft Dak Prescott in fantasy football this year.
Oh yeah, listen.
I really hope in every league that I'm in that nobody drafts him, please, so I can draft him.
You know what?
Mary came in hot.
Wait a minute. I'm feeling frisky today.
I'm drafting him.
I feel frisky. I'm feeling. You know what? Hold on. What's the record for the highest passing yards in the season?
I'm gonna let you Google that. I ain't gonna.
I'm gonna Google that right now.
I'll do that. I'll let him Google that. But again, do you feel comfortable on this? And we'll pivot off of James here. And with the mindset that he's going to be pseudo the replacement, there's some other guys here, but maybe the pseudo guy that Cedric Wilson was. Do you feel comfortable in that realm?
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he can do what Cedric Wilson did. Something in that range.
Okay. Mary,
probably in the lower range, but
yeah. I mean, the health with all of our wide receivers is what makes me extremely uncomfortable. But yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get to the new shiny. Let's get to the new shiny. Oh, go ahead, Spoon.
The record is 5,477 yards in 2013 by Peyton Manning. Now, hear me out, Cowboy fan. I know I'm a fan. I'm not. Dak was on pace for 6,000 yards the year he got hurt. I'm just saying, he was on pace for 6,000 yards. So it can happen. It can happen. I'm not gonna bet nobody right now, but BJ, I'm gonna make this bet to you once I know how the roster's going. I'm gonna challenge everybody on this panel for some wins on that. If everything is right, Spoon's coming back to this, and I will make that bet that record will be broken by Dak himself. He was on pace.
All right, somebody clip that. Somebody clip that real quick. Clip that.
I like that he said, "I'm not going to bet you guys right now, but I am
going
to bet you guys."
But I am going to bet you. I ain't betting you now, but I am going to bet you. Our guy Robert Roberts says, "Could Washington take Gallup's job if he has the production?" Come on, man. You got to follow the money. Y'all know better. He got the contract. James is going to be gone next year. Not going to happen. No, you're muted, Mary. We love it. You're talking so much, but you're muted.
Fuck, I forgot. I meant not to do that. Did y'all hear that? My bad.
We're gonna act like we didn't.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mary. Go ahead.
It's a new day. We've turned over a new leaf. It took Mary 3 shows to not turn over the new leaf. 3 shows in, and we lost it already. Neither here nor there, but yeah.
Anyway,
definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Shut the door.
No, okay, I can tell Jalen. So let me know whenever I can go.
He has not lost his job if that happens. No.
Fair.
We already know he's been paid. Maybe after like the second year, but not the first one. Absolutely not.
10-4. So let's talk to the new shiny toy. 3rd round pick, Jalen Tolbert, and the career here in college, the old Sun Belt. 178 touchdowns. Jesus,
impressive number.
Yeah, facts. 178 catches, a little over 3,100 yards, and 22 touchdowns total. But it's last year, 82, 14, 74, and 8. Now, to me, this is where we're kind of getting to. Maybe not replacing Gallup this year. Maybe this is the long-term play, but we'll have to wait and see. obviously coming from a small school, so what are your ideas and thoughts of him coming in here? And look, if Gallup's out, let's do this. If Gallup's out, does he have opportunity to be the number 2 out the gate for this team? And when we talk about the 12 personnel standpoint, go ahead, jump on in there.
Yeah, I think he has a pretty good shot to be the number 2 out the gates. I will say the Cowboys, historically, obviously it's a new regime, coaching wise, it's not the Garrett era anymore. What's up, Aisha? I think he has a pretty good shot to compete for it, and I think they will give him every opportunity to do so. They spent a 3rd round pick on him and told us, for what it's worth, we would have considered him in the 2nd round, and we know there were offensive guys in the war room campaigning for him, saying we want to take him at 56. We thought, we're going to take Sam Williams. We think he'll still be there, and luckily he was. But the Cowboys think highly of him. We know that the wide receiver coach that they brought in, Coach Prince, is a huge fan of him. He said he has a plan in place for him and was excited to have him aboard. I could definitely see him starting week 1. I do want to point out, though, the Cowboys typically try to slow play rookies that are not a 1st round pick, if possible. So that means maybe kind of work him into the game plan the first 2 or 3 games and then let him take off from there. But with his talent level, I think he's a better prospect, obviously, than Washington is at this point in his career. He has more upside. He's a bigger player. He's actually faster than Washington, too. I could absolutely see him getting the green light to start and running a lot of 12 personnel with him on the offense. I love this pick. It was actually the only pick of the entire draft that I was excited about. Doesn't mean that I hate every pick, but he was the guy that I was like, yes, thank you. I'm a big fan of him. I love what he's able to bring to the team. I definitely think he could be a future wide receiver 2 in the league. I don't think he has wide receiver 1 traits personally, but that's totally fine. You don't need 3 or 4 of them on the team. If you have a high caliber one like CeeDee Lamb and you have another guy who can take the top off of a defense, can win jump ball situations, can get yak, that's a huge compliment to that. And I think Dak's going to, have a big rapport and love him. So super excited about this pick. I don't like to throw yardage out for rookies because it's so hard to peg because we don't know if Gallup's going to be back. We know Washington's going to be there. We already talked about Schultz, all that stuff. But I do think he has a pretty good chance to start, and I could see him being really productive year 1.
That's interesting. And a little teaser when we get to the tight ends, 12 personnel, that'd be 2 starters, rookie, Tolbert, Ferguson. But we'll get to that later. That's a different conversation. Y'all sub, y'all come back. We talk tight ends, and we'll delve into that a little bit more. So Spoony, Tolbert, right? Opportunity out the gate with the 3rd round pick to be a starter and be your number 2 out the gate with Gallup sidelined with some injuries.
Before I answer that, I want to play this clip real quick.
Oh, okay.
I'm Joe Strahan, and this is my extra point. And I've got a Cowboys rookie for you to look out for. It's receiver Jalen Tolbert, the Cowboys' 3rd round pick out of South Alabama. He didn't start playing football until his sophomore year of high school. He played baseball before then, but he spent the last several years making up for lost time. Says he's become a student of the game, crediting South Alabama assistant, former Texas quarterback Major Applewhite, with challenging him to learn all facets of his college offense. And now he's taking that same approach on the pro level. Tolbert told me he goes back to his room each night and writes plays on note cards, trying to learn every receiver's responsibility on a given play. He's putting in the work, and QB Dak Prescott is taking notice.
Smart guy, smart receivers picked up the playbook. And wants to grow, wants to get better. He's always trying to talk to me about film or what I saw and or what he can learn on, or he's trying to get advanced level of coaching, and we're not even through step 3 yet.
With the departures of receivers Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson, Tolbert will get his shot. And who knows how long it'll take for him to make the transition, but I like the way the rookie is giving himself the best chance to be his best.
10-4.
All right, first off, let me give y'all a disclaimer about being homeless. It is not the thing to do, okay?
10-4.
If you're watching my struggle right now, it would be just as bad if I was at my parents' house. It's bad. It's bad being homeless when your house isn't ready yet, okay? So, don't do it.
Yeah, look. You was at the pool all day. I don't want to hear about your struggles. I was working. You was at the pool. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to stop the cap. All the cap. Ain't nobody trying to hear that cap right now, Mary.
I'm broke. I'm homeless.
No lies.
I'm jobless for a few days. Okay.
Look,
I don't
as
got
I
it,
say,
guys.
you're fine. You're fine, Mary. You're fine. Okay. You was at a pool all day. You'll be okay. All right, Spoonie, with a great clip there with a great clip there of Jalen Sober and what's going on in some of the commentary. Number 2 in the 12 personnel. Did he come out the gate week 1 be the number 2 as a 3rd round pick?
Dak drafted him.
Oh,
Dak drafted him.
Yes.
We talked about this at the space a couple of hours ago. The one thing that I love about this team going forward is that when Dak got signed, he says culture change. He wants to change the culture, meaning the culture he was part of, he did not like. And one of the main responsibilities they gave him this offseason, he was interviewing the draft players. He talked to Jalen Tolbert 2 days before the draft and told him, get ready. So my thing is this: if the quarterback is good with him, and he was part of the interview process, and what other information he got out of it, he loves it. Jalen Tolbert has every right to take over the number 2 or number 3 spot. If James Washington is there, he could beat him out. Michael Gallup, this is why he's on the outs for 2 years. It's really a 2-year deal. Right. So if Jalen Tolbert becomes that guy, Gallup could be out the following year. So yes, it's very possible. Depending how fast he grows, depending how much they put him in the offense, how much responsibilities. Hey, when you get a receiver who's doing more than who he's asked to do, people watch.
Right.
The trust grows, and this is what this team wants. They want that trust. Listen, the way he's moving, the way he's going, I'm not surprised if it happens. I won't be surprised. It could definitely happen.
Yeah, and and one of the things that we're seeing in the trend within the league over the past 3-ish, maybe 4-ish, if I stretch it out, years is, used to be wide receivers would maybe take a year to get on. Yeah. And what we've seen, the transition from the college game to the NFL game, they're hitting the ground running. More times than not now, and more so than ever in the NFL game. And what it is, obviously, we know like the game is built for the offense. We understand that side, but just how things are done college-wise in the system that's now here in the NFL, these guys are able to acclimate themselves to the NFL game much quicker and be explosive and be productive a lot sooner than what it used to be, right? So that's the one big uptick for Jalen Tolbert. So as we go back and we kind of talk about Jalen Tolbert, and we kind of talk about as we're going through encompassing everybody that's on this roster wide receiver wise with the worrisome with some of the injuries as Mary was talking about, the unknown with James Washington, what he's been up and down with some bad quarterback play, Gallup starting out, possibly on the PUP list, is you did add the Tolbert, and that was the shiny toy. That was the quote unquote free agent per se guy that maybe you wanted to go up the ladder for and spin for. In this market, as we talked about when we talked about the Gallup deal, we talked about the Christian Kirk deal, the wide receiver market was insane and what they were getting paid. And so you're going to get a Tolbert, you bring him in here, and you kind of look at the guys that kind of went on and get signed. I ain't talking about the guys that got traded. I ain't talking about Devontae Adams. I'm not talking about,
I don't want to talk about.
We're talking about the free agent.
I don't want to talk about the guys that got traded, but like just a question. I can't remember. I apologize if I missed it, but like, how did y'all feel about like somebody like Jarvis Landry or obviously Odell, he's still injured. He's coming back from his own injury. But like Jarvis Landry, I feel like that might have been a help. Even if he stays injured, it would have been like a help until Gallup comes back, that type of thing. Somebody who could like just be there until Gallup comes back. Will Fuller, that type of player where even if they do get injured, that, they could be there just to fill a spot until.
Mary, you're worried about injuries. You want to sign some injury guys? Will Fuller?
But my point is like, if they're healthy right now, by the time Gallup is healthy, then they'll be injured, and then we just switch it out.
Will Fuller gets paid a lot to not play games. I don't know. I'm just saying. But there's some things to your thing. But for sure, there's some guys there. There's some guys there, though. I'm still where you're coming from. For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm worried about the inexperience, and there's always going to be. You are kind of right. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just
So, but I'm
I thought
saying
I
your
was
Jarvis Landry, and what I'm saying is, what the Cowboys are going to look at this is their Jarvis Landry is Jalen Tolbert. That's exactly how they're going to pivot and look at this thing. So if you're not going up the ladder really to go get some of the bigger key guys you're going to bring in here, and again, we've kind of talked about this before in the spaces. I'll kind of bring it over here in some of the conversations we've all had in our group chat. Is this CeeDee Lamb is a replacement for Cooper? It's not Tolbert, right?
Yes.
And as we talked about the wide receivers or not, James Washington isn't really the replace of Gallup. He's a replacement for Cedric Wilson. And Tolbert is your bridge gap guy. He's really the guy to step forward. This is why we brought up the question about is he your day one number two guy out the gate? And that's the Gallup situation. So your bridge gap to Gallup getting back here really is more Tolbert. And then depending on what he does and what Washington's doing, then we'll see the pivot there once Gallup comes back. That's how I kind of view it.
No, and I understand that view, and I feel like that's pretty accurate with what they think. But is that okay if you're trying to win?
Do you believe in your quarterback?
Yes, absolutely. But do I believe it?
Then it's
Okay,
okay.
we're gonna get to this later. But
Okay.
you know what?
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave it
Okay.
alone.
Okay. But I mean, if you believe in the quarterback, then
I
this is
believe in
okay.
him, but we're gonna get into this later about everything else. So I'll just leave it
Fair
alone.
enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
I
As we're putting the
object
ball here
right now to this line
no,
of
not
questioning.
whoa, not yet. Don't you do it yet, Ray. Hold on.
She couldn't help
We're
herself.
gonna debut
She
it.
couldn't help
I know.
herself.
We're gonna debut that. We got you. It's coming.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we got you. But here's the thing, right? In the Tolbert situation, right? The sky's the limit. And you brought up the question about
Sorry
what's his
about the lighting,
production at
guys.
this
Hold on,
year.
I'm trying to
And
fix it.
you're fine.
That's good.
No worries. You're good, Mary. And you asked them, and we kind of ran. Let me run back through them real quick. 850 yards, 7 touchdowns. Roberts 738 yards. Mendoza checking in 610, 4 touchdowns.
Did we get one from Spoonie? Because I'm trying to keep track. We're at 2,300 already between Washington and Lamb. So what's Tolbert doing?
Tolbert. How many yards from Tolbert?
See, it all depends. It depends. How much
we worry about depends. No, now you worry about depending.
Give me the,
but I
numbers.
could say that with James Washington. You know what? I'll play it off. I'm gonna go with for the rookie. If it's Lamb, Gallup, depending what goes on with him, and you got Washington there. I already gave about 700 to Washington if Gallup comes back late October. So I'm gonna give Jalen Tolbert if that's what happens. I'm gonna give him 600. No, 500. Excuse me, 500 yards.
500. So 2,800 yards now between those three receivers.
Yeah, 500 yards. Because the thing is, it all depends on Gallup. If Gallup comes back early, then who's getting more of the role? Who's gonna get a bigger role?
Wait, so what do you?
October?
That's
the thing.
Allow me to be that guy then. I guess I think everybody here's talking. I think y'all are vastly underselling Tolbert. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think he's a 500-yard guy. I don't think he's a 600-yard guy. I think he's going to do enough.
We're going to stop running the ball. Okay, so what do you think?
Okay. I'll finish now. It's fine. We're just talking about Tolbert and how many yards. That's where we're at. Tolbert yardage.
I just want to let you know.
Okay, what you got?
Because we have 2 running backs.
Do we have 2 running backs?
I mean, we have one that we know the team loves, and then we have another that we hope the team finally loves. You know?
Yeah. Okay. And you think they're really going to walk through the door this year and run it? That's we're not to running backs yet. We're just about wide receivers. But again, I mean, you want to object some more. Obviously, you're so ready.
I do. I'm really holding it in.
Professor, we should have put that segment up higher now.
Now that we're thinking about it, I'm really holding it in.
You know how on reality shows, how on America's Got Talent, they have the golden buzzer that they can use anytime they want. Maybe that's just what we'll do with Mary. We'll just, whenever she wants to do the I object button, just let her go.
And just let her hit it. Yeah, just let her hit it.
I really
Jalen Tolbert yardage.
So many times I wanted to object. I'm like, y'all gave me my own segment. Object. No, but I can't do that.
It's coming. Yeah. It's coming.
Y'all should not give me this kind of power.
Oh, we're aware now. We get it.
Spoony, get the lasso out now, Spoony. I didn't know this was going to happen so early in season 4. It's always Mary's had to reel us in, and we've literally got to the point. Spoony, you have the power to reel her back in now.
Spoonie doesn't want to though. Spoonie is like, I want to see.
But again, back over here to Tolbert, your expectations as you threw it out there with the question.
Yeah, the numbers Spoonie was talking about for Washington, I think are more along the lines of what I think Tolbert will get. I think Tolbert's going to be somewhere in that 850 yard, 7 touchdown range. That seems right.
That's where I'm at. Again, these 5, 6s, I'm like, no, I think it's over that. I'm with you. I think, and again, and it goes back to how this coaching staff believes in playing young guys. So yeah, I think yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm in the 800 range for Tolbert for sure. I think the over under realm I would put him at is 750, and I think he'll do the over. That's where I'm at with him. Our guy Cameron comes and says 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. Okay. Outlaw Cowboys coming in 900 yards, 8 touchdowns. So yeah, yeah, facts. Dak's averaging 3680 yards per season and has improved every year. These numbers by Spoon could be correct. There it is. There it is. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, if he does, Sweeney, I can't wait for the wing bet. I love me some wings. I love,
I'm gonna say something. Anytime I bet DJ Nix directly, I lose. I'm a bet you through Mary and PO to get to you. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
well,
I may win. I hope I do.
Sir, whatever it takes. Okay. Whatever it takes. And let's go ahead real quick and let's round out the rest of the wide receiver core here. Right. So now we got a little jumble here. We have the Vashers of the world, right? We have Simi Fioku, your guy Spoon, Simi Fioku. And then, of course, we have a couple of undrafted guys, Professor O, that you like, right?
I do. Do you want me to
who are they?
Oh, okay. I thought you were still. It sounded like you had another sentence.
No, that was just a
pivot. My bad.
That's a little transition.
So we have Noah Brown. We have Simi Fioco. One of the last year's fan favorites, which is a good reminder to people. The quote that's out there that, yesterday's price is not today's price. It's the exact same thing in the draft world. Last year, Big Bohina and Simi Fioco were 2 of the draft favorites. Everybody loved them. Everyone was excited about them. Everyone had big expectations. And then this year, the 2 guys that may be on the roster bubble. We don't know if they're going to make it or not. They're going to walk through the door. We do know that Simi has worked hard and had some one-on-one time with Dak and apparently is getting more separation. But we're hearing even when he gets separation, he's dropping the ball, creating interceptions at OTAs, and then dropping a pass in the end zone even when he got a step on Anthony Brown. So, you have to capitalize on those type of plays. You can't constantly be the guy, well, he was close, but something terrible happened over and over and over again. Things like that stick to people's mind. Perception is reality. We have some guys like last year, TJ Vasher. He's the guy that stands out among everybody right now because he was getting wide receiver 1 reps in OTAs, and he has a completely different stature than anybody else on the roster. He's 6'6", about 210 pounds, so he's real thin for his height, but he has the ability to go up and be your jump ball type of player. He has freak athleticism, a massive wingspan. The Cowboys used an NFI on him last year so that he wouldn't hit free agency and the 53-man roster cuts. So doing that non-football injury designation allowed us to kind of protect him, quote unquote. So it seems like there's some expectation there for him. And then we have 2 guys that I think are the names fans should pay attention to in training camp through preseason, and that's Ty Freifogel. He's out of Indiana, and Dontario Drummond, a wide receiver from Ole Miss. Drummond allows you to have some punt return flexibility, so that's something that we're missing right now because we don't want CeeDee Lamb returning punts, and we're hearing Tolbert, who is another guy we expect to be a pivotal part of our offense, is now a punt return option too. I don't want those guys to do that.
He's never done it. And he's never done it in college.
Yeah, I don't want my top 2 receiving options, which is what we're looking at right now. We all just talked about that as my punt return guys, unless I absolutely have to or games on the line. I want my down the roster guy to be the punt return option. So if Drummond can step through the door and be productive in free agent or in training camp in preseason, maybe he gets that wide receiver 6 spot, because I do think they're going to keep 6 receivers to start the season, which we'll talk about that way down the road. And then Ty Freifogel is the guy that can play slot receiver. He had a huge 2020. If he would have come out of the draft that year, he's probably a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Last year, his quarterback play was borderline unwatchable. It was bad. Just watch any of the film. There's so many passes where he's open and his receiving options are open, and the quarterback just could not get them the ball. And that was with 2 different quarterbacks giving him a shot. So kind of have to throw out last year's film and go back the year before. But in terms of size and being able to play inside outside, he's a guy that I could see being a wide receiver 3 or 4 in the future. So I like his upside more than Drummond, but Drummond gives special teams availability that Freifogel doesn't. So those are the 2 guys that I'm most interested in terms of undrafted free agents.
And they don't care. My guy King Shadow says, but like you said in the chat, Professor, Vasher has to work on his physicality, his contested catch rate. And the one thing that we want to talk about, he's bulked up this offseason. He's gotten in the weight room. And that's going to be interesting to see. Now, obviously, he had good OTAs. Now we got to see that transfer over into when the pads come on, right? And we get a little more physical, if you will. Yes. But he has bulked up. Let's be clear on that. I do want to answer another question from the chat real quick. Man, Robert, I banged the table for this last year about Pollard as a punt returner. And I'm like, I was trying to last year, and Professor O, Mary Ella, Spoonie, we talked about this. We were like, hey, we need to get Pollard that 12 to 15 touches, and we just need to generate some touches for him, whether it's just running the ball, catching the ball, or punt return. And, I banged the table about that. They didn't care. The Cowboys are very much so in the mindset of, hey, we drafted a wide receiver. Oh, he's never returned a punt. It doesn't matter. He's going to do the punt return. They don't. I believe that special teams matter. Y'all see my tweets. They don't in certain teams.
It definitely matters, and I don't like putting different people there. I feel like that doesn't work for the Cowboys specifically. Have somebody climbing all over me, but I don't like it. I think it's not productive for us specifically.
Indeed, King. Indeed.
What's Dwayne Harris up to? That was the last good punt return we had. Like, let me get Dwayne back.
What's Harris doing right about
Lucky
this
Whitehead. Oh Lord, we getting desperate, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, it is desperate times calls for desperate
he
measures.
He might be available. I mean, but no, I do think that like we need somebody dedicated to that. I don't like different people doing it every time. That
you don't want just a guy. Yeah, somebody that can do something back there. I'm with you. Yeah, I definitely. And Robert, I'm with you. And his punt return or his kickoff returns are typically good. Now he's had some moments where he should have took a knee, but I understand that he's got some talent there. Again, get the ball in the stands and just create some touches for him would be nice.
Can I ask you this though? So that was what we talked about last offseason.
Yeah.
Knowing what Pollard turned out to be last year and what we think he's going to be in the offense this year, do you want him at punt returner or kick returner? I guess we can get to that when we do running backs, but that's something last year I was all for, and this year I'm like, I don't know that I want that anymore.
Here's the thing. I just don't think they're going to use him anymore. So sure, do it. Now I'm with you. If they upscale his usage in the offense, say less. I'm with you. I want to protect that to a certain extent. But I mean, I just until they walk through that door and show me, we've already been fooled too many times. Oh, Pollard's in OTAs. He's in slot. They're going to throw him the ball. Oh, training camp.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not falling for that. I'm
not falling for it. I mean, they literally last year used Zeke, who was basically after the midway through the 4th game with the torn PCL. We're like, nah, we're good, fam. And again, it'll always stick to me. When we went up there to Kansas City and there was no Cooper, and Lamb goes out in the second quarter with a concussion. In the second half, Pollard's just standing on the sideline. And
a mess.
Put him in. So look, now maybe this is where now Spoonie, I'm with you here because we talked about the more influence on Kellen from Mike McCarthy, and maybe that'll be the thing that really gets Pollard more involved in the offense.
But here's the thing, BJ. In the earlier space show, I forgot the gentleman's name, but he came out when we asked the question about who may make the which undrafted free agent wide receiver will make the squad, and he said it could be. So his answer was his guy is not on the roster. Right?
No. The question was, well, hold on, you jump. Hold on, I'm about to do that because yeah, we did this on the space. I wanted to bring it over here, and what I said was, who is to y'all the sleeper that actually gets a roster spot on the final 53, and then we'll pivot around that way. It's when you're right, because our guy Joshua Parker was over there, and he's like, the sleeper to me isn't on the roster, and that was intriguing in that standpoint.
Now, second shot not being friends. If you could pull up his comment, regardless which one is it, from the last two.
Who is it, Janine?
The trade.
Oh, you talking about?
Now, here's the thing. It's again, I'm not saying go for him, but I want to explain this. It's funny that you put that up because the Eagles are shopping him. Baltimore and the Eagles had something worked out, and it completely went out the window. That was, I believe that was reported by Tom Downey on one of his shows, right? So my thing is this. Let's just say Reed is cut. Are we okay if the Cowboys call him in? And knowing that he could play special teams, I don't know how the scouts feel about him during the draft process when he got lame at that time, but there was some saying, Jerry Jones, matter of fact, spoke about him saying he's fast, he can do X, Y, and Z. Would you guys be okay if they went after him?
Oh,
I'm okay if they sign him as a free agent, just bring him in for a look, but I don't want to trade for him. And I know that people immediately are going to say they wouldn't trade him in division. The Cowboys and Eagles have a long history of trading. That's the only team we do trade with in the division. We've done it frequently, but it's usually draft-related trades. It's not usually player trades. So I'd imagine they probably won't trade him in division, but if he gets released, I'm okay with bringing him in. Why not? Okay.
But I'll pivot it this way, though, and we will do the question and spin around here. Who's the sleeper for y'all that makes, if you had to pick a guy, who's the sleeper guy that makes the final 53-man roster at the wide receiver position for the Cowboys?
Well, I'm sticking with my guy from earlier, Drummond. I'll tell you Drummond.
Going Drummond? Okay. I'm Vasher. That's what I said in space. I think Vasher's the guy. I think because he brings something to the table that they don't have, especially with Gallup being down. We kind of heard about the OTAs and whatnot. So Vasher will be my guy as a sleeper guy to make the 53.
I'm the same. I think you guys know by now I'm a big Ty Freifogel fan. I do think you could probably put him on the I don't know. It's kind of hard to say what's going to happen, but I do think he's a guy you probably could get on the practice squad and develop for a year and then see what he has next year. I think Vasher's a guy that if you expose him, he will be signed elsewhere. And I don't think the Cowboys like I said, I don't think it's a coincidence he was on the NFI list last year because that designation protected him. They did that intentionally. We saw that with injured reserve where players were, hurt suddenly so that they could, kind of stash them for the year. We did the same thing with Vasher, but we did not put him on IR because they wanted him to be able to come back later in the year, and the NFI tag allowed us to do that. So I think there's something there, and I think the early buzz that you're hearing is probably valid. I think Nick's is 100% right. I think it's Vasher.
Mary?
No, I agree. It's got to be wide receiver type.
Sleeper wide receiver. Who's going to make it? Who's your guy?
I mean, Vasher has been the guy that we were like, oh, little, like since last year, like baby deck type thing that could do stuff in the end zone type thing. And so maybe now he's ready. We talked about that. So I think, I don't know if it's him completely.
It's Simi Fioku for you. You like Simi Fioku now, don't you?
No, I really don't. I feel like he's been messing up. I don't like him.
10-4.
But
10-4.
I just need to see more, but
okay. Well, Mary,
I don't like anything I've seen. That's why I'm very worried about this. I'm very worried about the wide receiver team.
Okay.
And it's not because
I know you are.
It's not because of the
not
guys
because of. Okay, Mary, it's officially time. Wide receivers are done.
It's time.
It's time. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
You were so excited and objected to everything just a few minutes ago.
No, I really want to. No, because I've been wanting to object all day.
I know. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to roll
Hey
out
guys.
a new
Okay,
segment that
sorry.
we got that we have for this year. We have a new segment this year for our resident lawyer, Mary, who understands how to object. And maybe she doesn't object. It might be the whatever the topic is, she could object, she might agree. And what we want from y'all after she gives the take on it is y'all chime in and y'all let us know as well if y'all agree with her objection or agreement or whatever the case may be. So, Mary, for today and for tonight's show,
Yes.
here's the topic, and we'll find out if you object or you agree. PFF came out and they've been doing their rankings here on the coaching staffs, in whether it's head coaches or whether it's offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators. So they did their top 10 play callers in the league. Number 1 was Andy Reid from the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. Number 2 might be a Dallas Cowboy. It was a Dallas Cowboy. Kellen Moore, the number 2 offensive coordinator / play caller in the league via PFF. Mary, do you agree or do you object with the one and only Kellen Moore being the number 2 play caller in the league via PFF?
Oh, I object. I object.
Oh, okay.
I object.
Okay.
I object.
Why do you object?
Kellen Moore, we watched him multiple seasons, not just last season, but we've watched him multiple seasons, and we get excited with certain teams and see what he does, and then he changes it up. He gets very Scott Linehan-ish. Later on, he slams up. He gets scared. He tucks his penis in, and that's how can he be number 2 if you do that? Like you gotta let it hang if you're gonna be number 2. But he doesn't let it hang. He tucks it in. So how can he be number 2?
If you keep it track, we've learned 2 valuable lessons from Mary today. Don't be homeless and let it hang.
Yeah. So Mary's definitely not buying PFF's ranking of Kellen Moore being number 2. I thought we might be able to clip.
They didn't know I was going to say that, y'all. They had no idea.
I was like, oh yeah, it's a new segment. Boom, boom, boom. We'll clip this. We'll use it. We'll promote the show. I'm like, Pick 6 Sports new model. Let it hang. I don't know.
Let it hang. Don't tuck it in. Just let it hang.
Yeah, don't tuck it in. Let it hang.
He tucks it in every single time you're supposed to let it hang. He does not let it hang. So I object to that. I completely object to that. Let it hang, MF, since I'm not supposed to cuss.
Chat.
I'm just tracking, and I'm just thinking let me check. Let me look. Let me check my watch. All right, we said this is episode 3. Am I wrong? Is this episode 3? Right?
It is.
And Mary, look, and be clear. Mary missed episode 2. This is only Mary's 2nd episode.
Yeah.
Episode 1. Episode 1. Didn't she say new leaf, Spoonie? New leaf.
What?
Better this year. It's all good. Here we are. And in her 2nd episode, there, Professor O, everybody in the chat, hashtag it, Kellen Moore, hashtag, let it hang. Let it hang.
I can't wait because there's going to be an opportunity this year where something happens and we're going to be like, Kellen, got to let it hang right now. Now or never. Untuck it. Let it hang right now. Here's on the line.
Yeah, here's what we did. Here's what we just did. And Mike McCarthy needs to listen to this, to be honest with y'all. Because last year was all mojo moments. We got to be ready for mojo moments. We're officially here at Pick 6 Sports kicking mojo moments out of here. And now it's about let it hang.
You remember when we used to have hashtag finish the fight? Now it's just hashtag let it hang. That's
let it hang
right there.
Hey,
I think
whenever
that's
y'all
what
get
we
on,
all
what y'all gotta do? Here's what y'all gotta do. When y'all go on Twitter, y'all gotta tag us with the hashtag Let It Hang. That's the new movement here moving forward. Hashtag Let It Hang. Share this dadgum YouTube episode and put hashtag Let It Hang and tell them when to find. I hope somebody clipped the Let It Hang. Well, I'll go back and clip it later. Here we are. Mary came in, killing more. You can't be number 2 because you tuck it.
You tuck it. Like, you can't be number 2 if you tuck it. There's no.
Yes, that's good point. That's fair. She said a new leaf, but there were no promises what kind of leaf it would be.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank
I do want to give a quick shout out too. So this segment was the brain idea of 2 of the friends of Pick 6 Sports.
Yes.
So shout out
Yes.
to Dom White if you're watching, and Mendoza.
Yes,
I saw you in the chat. So
Yes,
appreciate both
thank
you guys
you.
for
Shout
coming
out
up
to
with that
y'all.
idea. I think this is a keeper. I think this
That
gotta
was
stay.
awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Here's the thing. I don't know if we can do that, but maybe we'll take it into consideration. Maybe we need to add it to the opening video of Let It Hang.
Right after Spoonie gets everybody hyped with his, his inspirational speech when they're showing Michael Parsons with the light low, and then Mary at the end of it, don't tuck it, let it hang.
It's in there. Sorry, my bathing suit was in there too. Sorry.
And again, and speaking of the video, man, shout out to our super producer Jay, blessing us with these overlays.
Thank you.
Yeah, blessing us with these overlays. The opening and everything, man. It's been good. Look, I'll be honest with y'all. I didn't come into the show today, or even when I woke up this morning, I didn't expect us to get to the segue of Let It Hang. However, we might have to look. We might, I might just scrap the I object part. We might have to just scrap it and just Mary's new segment, just Let It Hang. And then call somebody else. Say, you need to start Let It Hanging.
Guys, I never know what I'm gonna say. I just
we don't either. That's the thing. We have no idea what's coming up.
Yeah, here we are. But again, what we've learned is don't be homeless, never tuck it, let it hang.
That's pretty solid advice, though. That was on a bumper sticker on a car. I wouldn't say anything about it.
It's a T-shirt. That's a T-shirt.
That's a T-shirt.
Definitely a T-shirt for sure.
I think it's awesome.
Jeremy says, hashtag don't tuck it. Don't tuck it. Spoonie, we was going to do the sermon. I think we're going to table the sermon. I think we're going to table the sermon tonight. And we'll get producer Jay actually to get the sermon overlay for you ready to rock.
This week's episode of Let It Hang. That's classic. I love that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not really sure where we can go from here.
I'm sorry, Spoonie. I'm sorry. My bad, bro.
Don't worry about it. Hey, sis, I'm just let it hang. Don't worry about it.
Just let it hang.
Well. Look at the time, if you will. With that being said, DT. With that being said, man, as always, man, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Y'all know the drill. Tomorrow, we are. It'll be the space. It'll be the Cowboys Happy Hour. We'll have a good time there, and of course, we have started a new series on the channel as well. Obviously, you have this show here, but we do Freestyle Fridays, 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 Eastern. We come in. You got the plug. We got the phone line. It's all about us really interacting and trying to take what the spaces do via the voice, but doing it here on the YouTube as well. And really letting y'all talk and take the conversation wherever it needs to be and talk with y'all and everything. So we'll double down. Actually, if Aisha's still in the building, I actually talked to Aisha. We might have a little surprise from Aisha tomorrow night. So that's going to be fun. Tomorrow's about the happy hour. Get the drinks out, and start letting it hang. Don't tuck it. And then come over here to YouTube, and we're going to have another good time.
Let it hang. Let it hang.
And do what we do. Let it hang or nah, Mary.
Or no.
Let it drop. Let it hang, bros.
You know what? With Maddie, let it hang. Don't tuck it, let it hang. It will fit so great with the movie with Jamie Foxx, Willie Beeman, when he's playing that song on the beach. Let it, don't tuck it,
Yeah, just let it. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't. I don't think we go anywhere else from here. So with that being said, we'll catch you on the back end. Y'all be safe. We'll catch y'all next week. Oh, tomorrow. That's what's tomorrow. We'll be on Twitter and everything. And again, go over there to Twitter. Good. Is it hanging or not from Outlaw Cowboy? Make sure y'all go over there to Twitter, tagging some of that thing, hit the hashtag Let It Hang for the 22 season. That's where we're at. That's where Mojo Moments is out of here. It's Let It Hang via Mary and the Pick Six crew. We'll holler at y'all later. Peace.